That's a really, really nice day. I'm very happy that we've come outside. I've waited until about 7 for it to be cool enough that they can run around a bit. Really, really trying to make sure that they get some outdoors time playing without being afraid for their lives. Hey. Oh, catch. It's not that sunny anymore though. It's not that bad. It's just it's England. It's like, you know, blazing sun and then just cold and shade and I don't know. Every single part of me has something they don't like about the weather in this country. It seems like such an English thing, like a joke to talk about the weather. But no, goddamn, this weather really does get me. We have like 1 month of summer, and for like 1 week of that, it's so hot, it's too hot, everyone turns into a lizard, nobody can take it because we've got no fucking desensitization, and then it's back to raining and freezing cold for like the rest of the fucking year. So this is probably why people talk about the weather in the UK. It's just not good no matter which side of the fence you sit on. I have now unironically complained about the weather. That's a problem. Hey. Hey. I like watching you guys get to run around. Hey. Hey. You know, today has been pretty good in terms of like I have not this is the least overwhelmed I've felt, and this is the least bothered by insecurities I've felt in since like the last deciding to fuse all together into this shape. I feel a bit like I'm settling even. And it's weird because it's like I feel like every part of me thought that settling into the shape of what we look like fused would be like, I don't know, like I saw it as being more myself, feeling more full, feeling things more and being more myself. But I realise, like, connecting more, that it's like every part of me thought that and felt that. But we can only imagine what it would be like to be like more of ourselves from each individual part, which doesn't leave room for the experiences and responses and personality and humour and everything of each other part. Like, because, yeah, it's like I'd be thinking something like, some part of me would respond in one way or another, and I'd think, oh gee, I'm not very centered in myself. Like, I'll feel more myself and more confident as the dust settles, and where that's kind of true, it's not in the way that we expected, because it's like every part starts coming together and seeing that we're all parts of one whole person. It's just, there's a lot of different responses and thoughts and feelings and perspectives that I'm capable of holding. And I think having a lot more variation and like a lot more fluidity is how we end up more centered. Like I thought I'd be more stably, each part of me thought that I'd be more often more stably just more like that part of me, and coming together I see that it's like actually it's about it seems to be about having the ability to flow in a fluid way through all parts of me, what kind of whenever, kind of all the time, and that will end up looking like a lot more variation, probably a lot more contradictions. It, it's going to be a lot more messy, a lot less neat, and a lot like more intricate, whereas we were thinking it would be more consistent and more unvaried, I guess, more like of the same kind of response to everything. I'm starting to see that it means, yeah, more fluidity, more variation. And more like freedom, hey, to experiment with my responses and with the kind of person that we all want to shape myself to be. And the idea in sentence structure is great. So stabilizing, I think, in a fusion between many different parts of me doesn't mean what I thought it meant. And I prefer this. It's starting to feel a lot more like more parts of me are present at once, which is very difficult to describe, and a lot more whole and expansive, and kind of feels like I have more ability to be playful with what I do and what I imagine, what I think. Got better access to like inspiration and creativity and just doing random things, like little things. I wondered what a word in a song was the other day, and I just paused the song and went and Googled it. I was like, it's so hard to explain how it feels to not be able to do that. But generally, in very many parts of me, I would not feel like, hey, free and able to just pause what I'm doing and go do something else. I've known it by a load of names, like executive dysfunction, yes, we know we have ADHD, getting like stuck, hyper-focusing, being in the vital, like in the shutdown response. And like all of those things kind of are part of it, I think, but also part of it is just that when fragmented, each part of me felt like I had a very limited role, limited territory, and like, I don't know how to explain it, but it just kind of felt like I couldn't follow the track for a lot of things, like I was kind of stuck in what I was doing, almost like whatever I would be doing, there would be like this bubble with me in it, and then there'd be this vast fucking expanse of space between the bubble and everything else in this world. So it's like I couldn't really move around relaxedly and freely and go with the flow and like respond instantly to a thought I had with action. Those things were kind of shut down. It's really weird to explain. It's even fucking weirder to experience. It's also horrible and claustrophobic. Now that I have like some comparison, like thinking about just the nights upon nights where I'd sit there in my room being like, oh god, bored but more than bored. Bored but like panicky and sickened and unable to move by it, and like somewhere between internally hyperactive and racing, looping, horrible, spiraling thoughts, and external total shutdown, inability to disengage from what I'm doing or initiate anything else. It's like, it's fucking weird, man. It's like I couldn't turn things into action a lot of the time. I don't know if it's because of some parts of me being more likely to go into freeze and shut down, or like, I'm not sure what it is, but it sucked. I'm sure of that. It really fucking sucks. And it's happening kind of less now. Instead, I'm like kind of more existent, more present. I have more variation in what I can choose to do to respond. Like, instead of just catching a side thought in my head and being unable to take action. I wonder if it's like that I would feel, oh, I'm not going to get this into words, but this is interesting. I wonder if it's like that I could feel from multiple parts of me always. Well, like, obviously, because I am, okay. The person operating the front of my subsystem and engaging with the body probably would have been a different part and a different person to the person in the back thinking, I really want to know what that song means, but it's just like a passing thought, and the person in the front is like kind of might catch it, might not, but either way it's like this inability to move at the front, so you catch the thought going past and you like strain and you can't quite bring it into action, then you forget it because it's from a dissociated part maybe, and maybe pulling all of those parts together and trying to remove the defenses of dissociation together so that we can be more present and more collectively whole means that I am both operating the body and thinking all these layers of background thoughts and able to put them into action as I'm the same person now controlling the body and thinking the thoughts rather than them just whipping round as I do past the person fronting without ever being connected to them because I'm not the same part. I wonder. This is why I'm so glad we record these things, because it's like sometimes I have to let myself go on a roll without knowing where I'm going, and then I have to watch it back so we can all kind of hear it and be like, yeah, that makes sense. There's still I think there's still some disconnect, some gaps between a lot of us, but that sounded like I definitely went mood as I heard it. A lot of us did. So I wonder if this is going to get even better. Like, am I going to remember and retain what I'm saying and feel like I'm the one that said it as we go and not just have to watch back our vlogs to understand what I've said? Is that going to be the next thing that happens with fusing and becoming more vast and connected? This is cool so far. I really like it. I see the defensive purpose of fragmentation, and it's fucking genius. Like, for sure, if you tried to stick all of the issues I'm now dealing with, all of the trauma, all of the triggers, all of the mental health issues, all of the comorbid conditions, like all of the nervous system states of dysregulation and like all of the way my brain is wired to protect us rather than connect with people or people please to keep us safe. Like, you try and stick all of that fucking shit into one person from the beginning without therapy tactics, and I don't think I would have survived. Or if I had, I think I would be legitimately, without wanting to cluster B shame, I don't think my grip on reality would be as grounded as it is. I don't think we would be healthy. I don't think it would be good. So, massive fucking props to this brain. I love that. That was the best thing it could have done, and it got really goddamn good at it. And also, oh god, I'd much prefer being like whole and one person and feeling like I have fucking substance and variety and an imagination and a sense of humour and like fucking things, attributes of being a person, a self-image, a body image, emotions, all of that in one place is so much better than I could even fucking imagine. And also, like, no shade, because if we'd had this ability to experience reality in so much depth while our reality was hell, yeah, that wouldn't have been very fun. So, perfect. Tragic. Perfect. And I love it. I fucking love this. I like having like more than one emotional reaction at once as well. That's throwing me. That's a lot, and I love it. I'm starting to have some kind of faith in myself as well, which is allowing me to speak more freely and like at first I kind of had to, like, I want it to be a balance, you know. I had to kind of acknowledge the insecurities and the fears as I started getting them, because I hadn't really experienced them before, and other parts had been experiencing them alone for a very long time. So I feel like it was right to acknowledge them and work through them in the open, like I have been doing. I also have started to feel like there's a slight shift now where it feels like paying more attention to the reassurance and the building of confidence and taking blind leaps of faith in myself no longer feels dismissive of the insecurities in most places. So it's like, on balance, I feel like I want to be doing that more now, and just like kind of getting used to the discomfort. Like there's still a part of me that is experiencing the anxiety of like, what if I don't know what I'm talking about? But it's like that part of me has heard the reassurance and the validation from other parts for so long now, and we can all together go, yeah, I feel that fear and it's a terrifying fear, and not allow it to control our actions by like pausing or questioning what I'm saying. There's more faith in like what I'm saying being helpful for us, and in it not really mattering if it doesn't make sense. Like, it's not, that doesn't feel like the end of the world that it used to feel like. And I definitely feel more like kind of excited to watch back and hear what I'm saying than gripped with anxiety and like having to fight myself to speak around it, or fight it to speak around it, I guess. So it's like there's a slight shift. Whereas at first, when I'd first started feeling the insecurities and the anxieties, if I'd immediately just started countering them and being like, no, I trust what we're saying, I don't know, it felt dismissive. It felt like I wasn't really validating the fears first, whereas I've been feeling them. I've been fucking drowning in them firsthand, very much in an embodied and entire way for a few weeks now, maybe. I think I looked at it, I think it's been about a month since this last bit of fusion really like changed my shape and started sort of working on settling at that point, which I can feel way better than I can describe in the 2-dimension of language that I'm trying to use for it. And I feel like holding them and like actually experiencing them in the parts of me that had been rejecting those was necessary to really incorporate the ability to feel those before I now went, okay, now we're going to take leaps of confidence on just happening to know what we're fucking doing, or that it's okay if we don't, just in us. I'm going to pay less attention to the insecurities now that I've acknowledged them and know they're there, and I'm going to pay more attention to the reasons why I have confidence in us and how it feels to have confidence. And now it feels more like other parts can lean into me doing that as well. It's like I had to lean into them and hold what they were holding or feel it, and now we both seem, or all seem to be able to lean more into how I feel, whereas before it was like I just cut them off. If I went straight for what I was feeling, like there wasn't enough settling of the glue at first or something. Do you know what I want? I want to get like some of those, I don't know if I want like CGI or just solid paint that you can use in the air, but I want some sort of 3-dimensional form of ability to paint, because I would get a little bit closer to showing what it's like in here if I could do that. It's still missing some dimensions, but it would be close. That with music over the top and like movement and animation Might be close. God damn.